Promising Young Woman, former Killing Eve showrunner Emerald Fennell's film debut. It's a dark comedy thriller with Carrie Mulligan playing the troubled heroine who is out for revenge. Hey guys, Henry here, and today we're going to be diving into the film Promising Young Woman and explaining the ending of the film and the overall message of the movie. As always with videos like this, there will be spoilers ahead, so you have been warned. The film starts with a woman at a bar who appears to be absolutely wasted. She's lost her phone, barely able to keep her head up, slumping in a seat when she's noticed by three dudes. One of them, seemingly the least douchey and most nice guyish of the bunch, goes over to check in on her, telling himself that, he's a good guy, he's just trying to protect this intoxicated woman and make sure she gets home safely before any dirty predators begin to circle. And maybe, just maybe, she'll appreciate him being such a nice guy and let him have sex with her. So he takes her home, but oops, his house is nearby, so might as well stop off for a drink, right? And Carrie Mulligan's character is just so munted at this point and has no clue what's going on, she has no choice but to go along. He then tries to kiss her and moves the party to the bed and begins to undress her. She then reveals that she's not actually drunk and that maybe he's not actually a nice guy. Promising Young Woman centers around Carrie Mulligan's character, Cassie, who has a hobby of going to these really dank places, acting like she's blackout drunk, and seeing which shitty guys come up to take advantage of her. This premise seemed pretty interesting, but at the same time, before watching this movie and just having seen the trailer, I definitely was wondering where it's really gonna go. It honestly, on the surface, seemed like such a feminist-based revenge story, with maybe the female lead just knocking off or torturing guys and ticking them off a certain list, adding them to this little tally in her journal. But I was pleasantly surprised, because this movie wasn't like that at all. It really had a depth to it, and it really felt like a movie with purpose. And it's the why behind Cassie's hobby that is so compelling and provides such a strong foundation for this film. Cassie's trauma stems not from her own personal experience, but from the experience of her best friend, Nina, who was raped when the both of them were in med school in college by a male student, while others just watched. And all those involved ultimately faced no repercussions. Nina dropped out of med school and Cassie dropped out along with her to support her, but ultimately Nina took her own life, and Cassie feels like she bears the burden of being not able to protect her best friend when she needed it the most. And she finds herself stuck, unable to move on, working at the same coffee shop, still living at home with her parents, in stark contrast with her other classmates who have gone on to become doctors and start families and have completely left this chapter of their lives in the past. The trailer and the beginning of the film sort of hint that there is an element of violence, and that maybe Cassie is just offing these blokes or torturing them in some way, but really she just wants them to realize that what they're doing is wrong. She's not trying to be a vigilante and chop off a whole bunch of dicks to get revenge on the male species because all men suck, but she wants these individuals who prey on vulnerable girls to reflect and look inwards on whether or not they really can call themselves good people. But when Cassie learns that the man that raped Nina, Alexander Monroe, has moved back from the UK and is about to get married, she shifts into a different gear, no longer just targeting the randos in the clubs, but now specific individuals she had felt had a role in Nina's undoing, targeting former classmates, the dean of the college that let the rapist get off scot-free, as well as the lawyer who defended the rapist. And to make things even worse, Cassie begins a relationship with a former classmate named Ryan, played by Burnham, who slowly was able to break down her walls with his funny and caring attitude, as well as his patience. But she's given a tape of Nina's rape that was passed around back in college, and she sees that Ryan was actually there amongst the group of boys who were egging Alex on while he raped Nina. And this absolutely crushes Cassie, and she hits rock bottom, justifiably feeling like she can't trust anyone at all. And she makes preparations for a final confrontation with Alexander Monroe. And that leads us to the ending of this film, which undoubtedly is going to be very divisive. So Cassie shows up at Alexander Monroe's bachelor party disguised as a stripper nurse and gets all the guys at the party to guzzle down some spiked alcohol so that she has a chance to be left alone with the groom-to-be. She cuffs him with some fuzzy handcuffs to the bed and reveals her identity to him, and forcing him to remember what he did to Nina, and sets out to carve Nina's name onto his body as a permanent reminder of what he did. But before she even manages to do any actual damage, he breaks one hand free and overpowers Cassie, and in that moment of fear and rage, he smothers her to death with a pillow. And yes, our protagonist is dead. She never previously did any physical harm to her victims. It was all more psychological, and the first time she attempts something more violent, it backfires. Although at the end of the film, Cassie's plan ultimately succeeded as she gave her location and the video to the lawyer who had shown remorse for his actions and wanted to make things right, and we see the police find Cassie's body and roll up on Al Monroe's wedding. We can also assume that the video proving Ryan's complicity was also released, but justice came at the cost of Cassie's life. And it was a result of her preparation and the fact that she had the foresight and a contingency plan in place in case anything did actually happen to her. If not for all that, they might not have been caught at all. And this ending really emphasizes the reality of women in this situation where they've been abused and they've tried to take action themselves, and in the end, they're the ones that end up paying the consequences. While privileged men who don't even think about the consequences of their actions can so often just get off scot-free. And this movie very well could have ended with Alexander Monroe and his best friend just burning Cassie's body and getting on with their lives, and just that being a crazy weekend. Carrie Mulligan was amazing as Cassie. She captured that somewhat immature nature of Cassie, who at times felt stunted in her emotional growth because of her past trauma, as well as the opposite, a very mature and calculating side to her. And then the casting for the men. Casting these guys. They purposely had these roles given to the faces of actors typically associated as nice guys or even harmless nerds, only to reveal them to be more sinister individuals. And I felt like this decision was honestly pretty genius. Having these relatable guys be these monsters, in a way, as a viewer, you are forced to reflect on the other people you know and, of course, yourself. You might say all the right things, you might do all the right things when other people are around, but do your actions always line up with what you claim to be, that you're a good person or a good guy? And the fact that there wasn't that one male character that was visually that bad guy, it really made the film that much more impactful, that all these horrible things could have happened, and the people involved were just these pleasant looking faces. And especially the character of Ryan, he was handled so delicately. In all his interactions with Cassie, he's sweet, he's patient, he's caring, but at the end of the day, he wasn't even remorseful of his complicity in Nina's rape, and he still remained friends with Al Monroe, even attending his wedding at the end. Promising Young Woman is definitely more than meets the eye. The trailer only scratches the surface of where this film takes you. It's a really focused and contained film. There's not a lot of fluff at all, and I love that. And I think it did such a brilliant job of driving home its message. I would definitely recommend that you give this film a watch. Thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and to subscribe as well. And don't forget to check out some of my other videos. What did you guys think of Promising Young Women? Did you agree with my take on the film? I'd love to hear your comments in the comment section down below. As always, thank you guys all again for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.